Hi, everyone. TGIF. Happy Friday. I'm hopping on here to talk about the most recent news about former Baltimore State Attorney, State Prosecutor Marilyn Mosby, who is scheduled to be sentenced at the end of this month, May 2024. She basically is being sentenced for counts of being convicted of perjury and also of perjury and also wire fraud. Let me just double check. But anyway, she's subject basically to be sentenced to almost 40 years. That's the maximum sentence. In prison for lying on an application to have money withdrawn from her retirement fund, and also for fraud on a mortgage application. So that's what she's up against right now. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to kind of break down who she is, kind of the history of how we got here. And I want to know what you think about it. Is it fair or foul that she's up for these this much sentencing? Because there's been quite controversy around it. And right now she's petitioning for President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris to pardon her. So I want to know what you think. So as usual, if you're on the live, hop in the chat box to let me know. Shout out where you're watching from. I like to acknowledge all of our viewers, and we have them all over the place. This is a little different. I try to do trending topics. So if you're new to the channel, I try to do some trending topics every now and then, but we do have some normal staples of the channel, which is like veterans benefits, pre-law, law school and beyond, personal finance, reactions. So all kind of playlists. So I'm sure there's something for everyone on there, but hop in the chat box, say hi to me so I can shout you out in the chat box. But I'm going to kind of get into, for those of you who are not familiar who Marilyn Mosby is, what she's charged with, because this is basically, like I said, I'm an attorney, so I'm coming from a legal perspective, but also from a personal perspective, what I think about it. And in this one, I have some mixed views about it, but I really want to know what you guys think about it. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to share the screen with you. And if you're watching from your phone, I find it helpful to turn the phone sideways so you can see the writing a little better. Let me make sure that is viewable for you. So who is Marilyn Mosby? She's an American politician, lawyer who served as a state's attorney for Baltimore from 2015 to 2023. She gained national attention following the killing of Freddie Gray in 2015, after which she led a highly publicized investigation and unsuccessful murder prosecution of the police officers who arrested and transported Gray. She was reelected in 2018, but lost in 2022 reelection campaign to Ivan Bates following her January 2022 indictment by a federal grand jury on perjury and mortgage fraud charges. The charges against Mosby stem from allegations that she had withdrawn money from a program designed to help people financially affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Mosby denied any wrongdoing and pled not guilty to the charges, but was convicted of 2 counts of perjury on November 9, 2023, and 1 count of mortgage fraud on February 6, 2024. She, like I said, she's not originally from Baltimore. She's actually originally from Boston, but she became one of the first youngest state's attorneys in a larger city. She was appointed at 34 years old, but she, after that, went into all these downfalls after she prosecuted the police officers who supposedly killed Freddie Gray. Now, if you're not familiar with the Freddie Gray case, it was the case that he was arrested and put in the back of a vehicle, one of the police vehicles, and ended up dead by the time they got to where they go. So this is a picture of Freddie Gray. On April 12, 2015, Freddie Carlos Gray Jr., a 25-year-old African-American, was arrested by the Baltimore Police Department for possession of a knife. While in police custody, Gray sustained fatal injuries and was taken to R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center. He died on April 19, 2015. His death was ascribed to injuries to his cervical spine cord. Apparently, he was in the back of a police vehicle and he wasn't seatbelted in or strapped in any way, and they were driving. He was kind of flown around and ended up breaking his neck, and that's how he died. So what happened was, at the time, Marilyn Mosby was the state's attorney general and state's prosecutor, and she said that based off of the autopsy results that said that was homicide, she was going to prosecute the police officers that were arrested. That basically opened up a can of other things, including unhelpful comments from former President Trump, who said basically it was like a all out for her. Basically, they didn't appreciate. They felt like she wasn't back in the blue, and they said we're going to go after you. And after that, it was downhill from there. So that's how we end up with. They found out during the pandemic that I'm sure some of you have already also taken advantage of it. During the pandemic, you were allowed to withdraw money from your 401k or your retirement plan without having the penalty for taking money out before you're the retirement age. So this is, I'm sharing with the screen with you, this is the coronavirus relief for retirement plans. So it's the CARES Act, and under it, certain qualified individuals will be eligible to take out money, withdraw money from their retirement plan without being penalized the 10% penalty for taking it out early. And they also had time to pay the taxes on it. They had up to 3 years to pay tax on it. In order for you to take advantage of it, you had to meet a certain criteria. And this is where the government said that Mosby lied and swore on her documents when she was applying for the withdrawal that she fit into one of the categories of the qualified individuals eligible for retirement that didn't have to pay the 10% penalty. So you had to be an individual being quarantined, laid off or furloughed, having work hours reduced, being unable to work due to lack of childcare, having a reduction in pay due to self-employment income, or having a job offer rescinded or start date for a job delayed due to COVID, or the individual's spouse or a member of the individual's household being quarantined, the same requirements, or closing or reducing hours of a business owned or operated by the individual's spouse or member of the individual's household. So those are the people, that's the criteria for the people who qualified to have no 10% penalty for taking it out. If you took it out and didn't meet those qualifications, you had to pay the 10% penalty plus taxes on it. So, excuse me, I'm just coming back to the screen. If you're hopping in now, say hi in the chat box so I can know who's watching us and where you're watching from. But so basically she applied for this money, used the money for down payments on 2 investment properties in Florida, and somehow they tracked that she did these things. So not only did she get the perjury charge for lying on the applications because they supposedly doesn't meet one of those requirements, but she also got, she supposedly lied on the mortgage application in regards to where she got her down payment money from, some gift source of things of that nature. So she got double barreled in regards to, like, it stemmed from the original money when she withdrew from her 401k. And she basically now is asking for President Biden to pardon her because she's like, I'm getting penalized for up to 40 years for using my own money, right? And that's not exactly what she is being penalized for. So I want to kind of I'm trying to look at it from both sides, right? Yes, I don't think 40 years is justifiable for what they're saying that she's supposedly done, but she perhaps did not meet the requirement. So there should be some penalty. In this case, they're also looking to seize the assets that she used to obtain the property. So they're going to sell the properties and she'll get the money back from the down payments, but any profit she made from it will be seized and go to the state. I think that in this situation, hundreds of thousands of people withdrew money during the pandemic based on the CARES Act. And also the PPP loans, people got caught for that and are now being sentenced for those things as well, right? So I'm trying to balance out the fact that you can't try to get around the system, but in this situation, I think at the time she was going through a divorce, so her income had changed in the sense that she had no longer a two-parent house or 2-income household, but she still was getting her salary from the government. They were saying like there wasn't a hardship to her because it wasn't like she was buying a primary home with the money. She was buying investment property, so that didn't necessarily qualify as a hardship. So they're saying like these are the things that she used it for. Yes, she could use her money for anything, but in this sense, she used it under the CARES Act. And so if she didn't meet those qualifications, she would have to pay the 10% penalty. Had she just paid the 10% penalty, I don't think any of these other stuff would have happened. But I think because she basically had a target on her back after she prosecuted the police officers from the Freddie Gray case, she had to make sure that people were going to be watching her every move. So let me stop for a second to see who's watching from the live. Hi, Vivian Robinson O'Neill. Hi from Georgia. Let me know in the chat box who else is watching today. What do you think about this, Vivian Robinson O'Neill? What do you think about the charges that are against her and the possible sentencing that she's up against. As I mentioned, she's up to 40 years in prison. They're going to possibly seize her investor residence in Florida. What do you think about, does the punishment meet the crime? I'm going to share my screen with you so you can also see the pardon. There's a petition going around from, if you follow Angela Reid, who's a legal commentator. She used to be a commentator on CNN News, but also has her own business and also started a podcast called Native Land Podcast with 2 other attorneys. They started a petition, and I'll leave this all in the description box if you feel led to sign this petition. But it's a petition they put towards President Biden. They're looking for up to 15,000 signatures. As of today, 7/11 Central Eastern Time, they have 13,448 signatures to pardon attorney Marilyn Mosby. And they said on May 23rd at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, attorney Mosby is scheduled to be sentenced and is facing 40 years in federal prison. The Department of Justice is trying to make an example of former Baltimore City State's attorney Marilyn Mosby. Attorney Mosby served as a progressive prosecutor seeking real change for communities of color. We all know the system wants to send a clear message to young lawyers and progressive prosecutors like Aramis Ayala, she's Florida, Kim Fox, Kim Gardner, and countless others, that there are consequences for attempting to balance the scales of justice. Instead of taking on cases like the Tulsa race massacre, nationwide attacks on DEI, or hate crimes, they have targeted elected officials, many of them heroes to this community they serve. We the people seek a full pardon from the president for the wrongful conviction of attorney Mosby. And they go on to explain like a little bit about her background, how she's a first-generation college graduate from Tuskegee University and Boston College Law, and was elected the youngest chief prosecutor of any major city in 2014. So like I said, they have a petition asking for that. She's also directly asked the president for a pardon, but I'm sure people thinking that, you know, if you get more people together, then you're more likely to see some change from the president in regards to this matter. I'm not sure. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. What do you think? Is it fair or foul that she has to go through this? Did you also withdraw money under the CARES Act and didn't necessarily meet those requirements? Obviously, if you're not in the forefront, if you're not a high profile person, a politician, you probably might have come under the wire. Some of the PPP people were, they thought they were coming under the wire as well. And there was kind of like more of a blatant fraud in those senses, because some people didn't even have businesses to say that they should be entitled to PPP loans. But people were being prosecuted for taking money during the pandemic. So let me know what you think about this case. I know it hasn't gotten much press about it. Yesterday, she went on MSNBC with Reid and talked about how she thinks that she's being railroaded and it's not fair. That was on Wednesday night. She went on the Reid's MSNBC weeknight show, The Reid Out. And she said she's done absolutely nothing wrong, nothing illegal, nothing criminal, and that she thinks it would be appropriate for Biden to pardon her. So I want to know what you think about it, because I try to see both sides of it. And this one is a little tricky in regards to she has 2 young children, but at that point, like if you break the law, sometimes you have to pay the consequences. In this case, she's standing on the fact that she did not break the law. I read the little description about like what the requirements were for withdrawing on the CARES Act. I don't know if they would have given her a chance to kind of repay back the money if that was the case. Like, well, she took this money is from her own. It wasn't like money from the state. This is from her own investments in the retirement program. So they made her pay it back. Would she have been able to get out of this trouble, or they were just kind of looking for blood because of the whole prosecution of the Freddie Gray police officers? But let me know what you think. If you're hopping in now, make sure you hit the thumbs up button so that it pushes out to the wider YouTube algorithm and should share it with other people. If you're interested in signing the petition for her, that's totally up to you. But I kind of wanted to give you the facts and let you see where you kind of stood on the matter, because sometimes I kind of did a video before about in Georgia, the case that they're prosecuting against Trump. The prosecutor there was kind of in a pickle in regards to what she was doing as far as hiring a special prosecutor. And people have very mixed views on it. Some of them are very one-sided, not based on the law, but some of them, you know, were biased in another way. So I kind of want to know what you guys think about it. Let me see who's watching. Hi, Tarima. Long time no see. I'm glad to catch the live. I'll play it back. Yes, if you're watching the replay gang, hashtag replay gang in the comment section and let me know what you think. fair or foul, put that in the comment section so that I know kind of we do like an informal poll of what's going on. But thank you for Tarima for checking in. It's good to see your face. And Vivian, I don't think she should be pardoned. However, I think the amount of time that she is probably being given is unfair. I don't think she should be trying to use the race card either. Okay, so that's what, does anybody disagree or agree? Tarima, what do you think about that? Do you think that pardon is inappropriate for this particular circumstance? Do you think that there's a better penalty for this? She doesn't have any criminal background, so I think that she probably won't get the maximum penalty, which is the 40 years, but she may be facing jail time for this, and kind of see where you stand with that. Let me know in the comment section what you think. But I wanted to come on here because, like I said, she was just on Joy Reid's MSNBC channel earlier this week, and the sentencing is coming up soon. So hopefully we'll see what's happening, and hopefully it'll be justice served for all people. And hopefully if you were guilty of doing those same things, that you won't be in trouble for doing those things in the future. You'd be aware, like, don't do that. But like I said, it was very rare circumstance because it was during the pandemic. It was a pandemic relief, just like some of the other relief that was given. So okay, Tim, I'm out of loop on this throughout the break. Okay, so yeah, just watch the replay because you hopped on a little later, so I kind of gave a little bit of history. So watch the replay to let me know what you think, and then comment in the comment section. But thank you all for joining and commenting today. Vivian, Robinson O'Neill, and Tarima, thanks for commenting. And if does anybody have any further comments before I hop off, I want to hopefully, we get some resolution from it. I might hop back on before the month is over to kind of let you know what the final say was on it, and if you guys kind of predicted what might happen. So thanks for joining and supporting the channel. And like I said, before you leave, make sure you hit the thumbs up or share it with somebody that you think it might be helpful to. Thank you all. Have a good Friday and have a good weekend.